Well, hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Island Church Weekly Podcast. Joined, as always, by Pastor Will McRaney. Pastor Will, how you doing today?
It's a great day, Matt.
Yeah,
Good to be with you, and
yeah,
just a great Sunday. And so it's a good time to be on the island right now.
yeah. It is. That's for sure. Well, I know we were talking all kinds of moving pieces and plans for the Bridge to the Future campaign before we kind of hit record here today. So, want us to hit on that a little bit later on. But first, how was Sunday at Island Church?
It was a really good Sunday. Some people are starting to come back that were been traveling, and or they were have come down for the winter. We're certainly glad to see our snowbirds here, and we
Yeah,
just try to incorporate them in every way possible into the life of the church while they're here, whether they're here just a few weeks or they're here for a few months. But we began a new series on Get Fit,
yeah,
and we're talking about the habits of spiritual fitness.
yeah,
We think about all different types of fitness, our
yeah,
mental, our educational. We think about our body physically,
yeah,
but do we think about spiritual fitness? And so we're going to take several weeks and really just talk about this subject. And this
yeah,
past week we talked about the importance of the church family. I mean, it is God's created institution, His only created institution that is to carry the gospel message out, and we do that together as a people. And so it was really fun to get started with that. And it was
yeah,
really interesting to see and encouraging to see the number of guests and repeat guests that have been coming. And so it was just the services were full of life,
love it.
and the kids, we had communion together. It's a great day for communion, but the
Yeah,
kids helped us at the back. Always, what do you do with those little cups, and how do we
yeah,
not spill this stuff, right?
yeah.
And the kids were in the back, and they collected the cups as people left. And so we always want to involve the kids in any
Excellent.
different is any way that we can
Yeah,
involve the kids. We want to try to do that. So it was
I
just a
love
good
it.
day.
Awesome, awesome. Well, what's coming up in the life of the church that folks should be aware of? What's got you excited? What's God kind of doing up at Island Church?
Well, another thing that just started up last week was the women's Bible study, and I think they're looking at the book of Esther,
Yeah,
and they do study the Bible. Sandy does
yeah,
massive amount of study, but they get together for what they call coffee and chat at 9:30, and then 10 o'clock for the actual Bible study, and
yeah,
so people can come early if they'd like to make connections or stay late. And but they just do a phenomenal job in terms of relationships, and a person wouldn't need any Bible background to actually
yeah,
come. And so if you're a lady out there listening, they just do a great job. Shane does a great job explaining. Everybody kind of learns together, and it's much more than, they're not pulling out the Greek and the Hebrew.
yeah,
They're walking together, doing life together. And so that started up. We're going to start today. Actually, by the time people hear this, it'll be a little bit later. But on Tuesday this week, we restarted the men's gathering,
yeah,
and we're not sure exactly what we're going to end up calling it. We call it
yeah,
Bible study, but really it's just a gathering of the guys, and we have a little meal together. That's a guy thing, right? We like
yeah,
to eat,
yeah.
and so we
Absolutely.
do
Eating
that.
some
And
food.
then we spend some time sharing a little bit, and then I provide a little bit of leadership, or one of our guys provides leadership for that. So that's restarted. And then a big thing we got coming up is on Momentum. We're going to get those started back again. On
Cool.
February 2nd, we'll have a little meal together back at 5:15, and at 6 o'clock, we'll talk about things going on in the life of the church. And as you said,
Yep.
we're going to be talking about the bridge later this week. We're going to have the new plans are so exciting
Yeah, I can't wait to
in
see them.
terms of what we're getting for the bang
Yeah,
for the buck is just going to be amazing, and what we can do for the community in terms of younger generation and the older generation or more mature generation and everyone in between. And so couldn't be more excited
yeah,
about the plans and how they've coming together. We'll have the commercial kitchen, we'll have space to do all manner of things, to engage people, to bridge them to
yeah.
the church, and ultimately help people be bridged to Christ. And that's what the whole thing is about. It's one large missions project you want to look at. We're going to benefit,
Yep.
but it's also part of the mission of what we're doing. So make plans to attend. It's a fun time, casual time, pretty informal on Sunday night, February 2nd. And then I want to mention one more
Yeah.
thing while we're finishing up. Next week, one of our strategic ministry partners or mission partners is Next Step. It's a
Yeah.
it's more than just a crisis pregnancy center, but that's a big part of what they do, unplanned pregnancies. And they help the mothers, they help the fathers, they do all kinds of things. Carol Alexander has 32 years there. I think she's in the process of retiring, but she has given herself. You're talking about a woman that has been resourceful, been a blessing
Yeah.
to so many people, saving babies, helping parents, and just being a hope. and sharing the hope of Christ that's within her. And so their big banquet is actually next Friday, January 24th. You can see me about that. You can see Chris or Julie Riley about that, and we'll be happy to give you the details of that. And it's their big one event that they do every year. So they're a partner of ours. They're doing something that we can't do on our own. And so when we have mission partners, we don't just have them because we don't have anything else to do, or we just want to give money away, but we partner with them. And we really have a chance to impact people that are in a point of need in their life.
I love it. Well, that's awesome. Pastor Will, how can people be praying for the church this week?
Well, that's a good question. I would encourage people just to be praying about their personal involvement, engagement with the church. There's so many things that that can distract us and get us away. But really, if you're going to grow and develop spiritually, as we talked about this past Sunday, you really need to be connected. It's really helpful to you and helpful to others, because life isn't about just us.
Yeah,
to be engaged in the life of the church on a regular basis. I understand our people travel, but it really needs to be a priority for us. I mean, we talk about living the exchange life. It's no longer I live, but Christ lives in me.
Yeah.
Well, the body needs to get together. So just pray about, one, your engagement with us in meaningful ways, life groups we have, the mission projects that we do, our worship services, using gifts and talents that you have. So be kind of all in with us, and then look around you. Is there a neighbor? Is there one person that you might invite to come with you? So this week, maybe you'll be praying about our church and praying for your church in that regard.
I love it. That's such a great word, Pastor Will. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate the time. As always, the encouragement and just kind of the heads up on what's going on at Island Church. Thank you all for joining us on another episode of the Island Church Weekly Podcast. We'll see you back here next week.